right. Well, welcome back, Merc Nation, to the Merc Method. I am your host, Merc. As always, I want to thank everybody for coming and listening to the podcast episode today. Today is the first May episode for mental health. So, this is pretty special to me on a personal level. But also, this is a special edition for the Rockford Boylan High School seniors for their psychology class. So, welcome in, seniors. And as always, I'm really glad that you're here. I know that the specific students are listening to this in class. There might be other people that will be listening to this elsewhere. But again, I'm really glad that you're here. And you being a student and kind of being on the edge of stepping into that next chapter, this conversation is going to be for you. Okay. Because you're standing at a point in life where things are going to start to shift. Up until now, a lot of your life has been structured for you. There's been a system, a path, expectations that were mostly laid out, whether going to school, passing your classes, following the rules, staying on track. And now you're being asked to step out of that structure and into something a little more open, a little more uncertain, a little more of yours. And that can be really exciting. But if we're being honest, it can also be very overwhelming, not knowing what that next step might possibly be. Today, I just want to sit with you and talk through this transition, not in a way that pressures you or overwhelms you in any way, but in a way that helps you feel grounded, a little more clear, a little more clarity, and a little more confident as you step into your own life moving forward. Okay, so let's start here. Let's all take a deep breath, a quick one, a real one. In through your nose, slow, and out through your mouth. Let's do it again. In and out. There's something important about that pause, okay? Because right now your mind might already be racing. What am I going to do next? What if I choose wrong? What if I don't succeed? What if I fall behind? And I want you to hear this very clearly, okay? You are not the only one thinking those things. Almost everyone at this stage of life feels some version of that right at this moment. The difference isn't whether those thoughts show up, it's how you respond to them. And that's where mindfulness comes in. That mindfulness isn't about having a perfectly calm mind. It's about being aware of what's happening inside of you, your thoughts, your emotions, without immediately letting them take over. Because here what tends to happen. Your mind jumps into the future and starts building worst case scenarios, right? Or it goes back into the past and replays moments you wish you could change. But when you're stuck in those places, it's hard to feel steady. It's hard to trust yourself. You can't change the past, right? It's hard to move forward. We don't know what the future is going to hold. But mindfulness brings you back to the now, to be present, to pay attention to what is happening to you now. And that now is where your life is actually happening. So let's make this simple, okay? Anytime you feel overwhelmed, which I know you have, even just a little, let's just pause. Let's take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice where you are. You don't need to fix everything at that moment. You just need to come back to yourself. That's the practice. And the more you do it, the more you build something really important, a sense of stability inside yourself, not based on your circumstances, not based on whether everything is going right, but based on your ability to stay present and grounded no matter what's happening around you. You can only control you. Okay. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get said out loud. Mental health doesn't suddenly become important when you're struggling. It's something you build day by day over time. And of course, stepping into adulthood, That's when it really starts to matter. Because as you move forward, you're going to have more freedom, more choices, more independence. I know you're going to like that. With that comes responsibility, not just for your actions, but for your well being. No one is going to manage your schedule the same way that you've had up until this point. No one is going to check in on your habits the same way up until this point. You become the one who has to notice when you're overwhelmed. You have to really pay attention to yourself now. You become the one who has to take care of your energy, your mindset, which way that goes, negative or positive, and your boundaries. And that can feel like a lot, sounds like a lot, but it's also where your power is. So let's talk about a few real things that you can carry with you into this next chapter, okay? First, learn to check in with yourself regularly, not just when things are going wrong, but really ask yourself, how am I doing right now? What do I need? Sometimes the answer will be rest. Sometimes it'll be focus. Sometimes it'll be space. Sometimes you just need to kind of tap out of the situation and refocus. But if you never ask, you never know. You don't know what you don't know. All right. Second, understand that your thoughts are not always true. This one is huge for a lot of people, probably most people, if not everyone. Your mind will tell you stories. You're not ready. You're going to fail. Everyone else is ahead of you. And if you don't question those thoughts, you can start to really feel like they are true and that they are real. But mindfulness gives you that space to step back and say, is that actually true or is that just fear talking? Remember, fear is a liar. That pause changes everything. Okay? Remember that. Always good to take a pause before you react. Okay, the third thing, give yourself permission to build your own life. And this is where things get really real. Because up until now, a lot of your path has been shaped by expectations from somewhere: family expectations, school expectations, society expectations. There's been this idea of what you're supposed to do: go to college, pick a career, follow a certain path. But for some people, that path fits, and for others, it does not. And that's okay. Your life doesn't have to look like everyone else's to be meaningful. It's okay to have your own path. It doesn't have to follow a timeline that someone else created. You're allowed to explore. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to choose something different. That's not failure. That's you actually living your life. All right, let's pause for a second. Take another breath in and then out. Been carrying that pressure to get everything all right. I know it's so close to graduation. Just try to let that loosen a little bit, okay? You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Let's talk about something that quietly affects a lot of people in this stage of life. Okay, comparison. How many people in this room compare yourself to somebody else? Maybe you see it on social media. It looks like they have a great life. It's very, very easy to compare. It's easy to look around and feel like everyone has a plan, like they're more confident, more successful, more certain of what they want to do. But what you're seeing is a small piece of the picture. People don't usually show their doubts, their confusion, their setbacks. They want to use all the positives and share that with social media in the world. So when you compare your full, real experience to someone else's highlight reel, it's always going to feel like you're behind. Instead of doing that, bring it back to yourself. Focus on your growth. Are you learning? Are you trying? Are you showing up? It's a process, not a race. This is what matters. Okay. Let's talk about something that ties all of this together: how you treat yourself. Because as you move into adulthood, as you start to transition from being a senior in high school to maybe going on to college or doing something in the trades, just working in general. The relationship you have with yourself becomes one of the most important things in your life. If you're consistently hard on yourself, critical or negative, it's going to make everything feel so heavy. You're giving yourself a bag that you don't need to carry. But if you learn how to be patient with yourself, honest with yourself, and supportive of yourself, it changes how you experience everything. It doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook. It just means talking to yourself in a way that actually helps you grow. Instead of I'm messing everything up, I'm supposed to follow this path, I'm supposed to do this, what they want me to do. Try just saying I'm learning and this is part of the process. That shift matters more than you really do think. Okay, let's check in again. Where's your mind at right now? Okay, if it's wandering, that's okay. Kind of bring it back. That's the way of mindfulness, kind of bringing yourself back to the present, kind of centering yourself. That's the practice. And it's something that you can carry with you into every part of your life. It is very, very important to be able to hone in on that mindfulness moving forward because it might get tough. It probably will. You're going to be good. After a tough day and moments where you feel uncertain, you come back to your breath, you come back to being in the present, and you move forward from there. Remember, you're just not finishing high school. You're stepping into a version of life where things start to become real in a different way. And yes, of course, that's more freedom and also that responsibility. But that also comes more decisions, more moments where you're going to have to trust yourself without someone else laying out the exact path in front of you. And again, I know that can feel like a lot. And I know I'm going to repeat myself on this, but I think it's important. You don't have to have everything figured out to move forward with confidence. That confidence doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting that you will figure things out as you go. And that trust it builds in small moments. Every time you try something new, every time you get back up after something doesn't go your way, every time you choose to keep going even when you're unsure, that's where your confidence actually comes from. Not perfection, not certainty, but willingness. Willingness to step into the unknown and say, all right, I haven't got all the answers, but I'm going to keep moving anyways. And listen, you are more prepared than you think. You really are. They've done a great job of preparing you for the next steps. You've already handled hard things. I bet you at some point in time you felt like you weren't going to make it through one of these days or you were having a rough day. And look, you're here and we're glad you're here. All of you. All of you are important. All of you have a purpose. And all those moments that I was talking about that were hard, you made it through. It wasn't perfect. Maybe it wasn't exactly how you planned it, but you made it through. And that matters. And that counts. And that's also proof that you can handle what's ahead of you, even if you don't see it clearly yet. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid if you choose one thing that might be wrong or if the fear of not being enough. But again, the truth about fear, it's not that sign that you shouldn't move forward. It's usually a sign that you're stepping into something that matters. So instead of waiting for fear to disappear, which it probably won't, learn how to move with it. Acknowledge that fear, embrace it. Yes, I'm nervous. Yes, I don't know exactly how this is going to go. And then keep going anyway. That's courage. Courage isn't being fearless. It's moving forward even when you feel uncertain. Remember, you don't have to rush through life. There's so much pressure to feel like you need to get ahead or stay on track. But again, it's a process, not a race. It's an experience. Experience life. Enjoy life. And some of the most meaningful parts of your life are going to come from moments you didn't plan, paths you didn't expect, opportunities you didn't see coming. So give yourself permission to explore, to try new things, to change direction if something doesn't feel right. Because remember, that's not falling behind, that's learning who you are as a person. And that's the one of the most important things you can do right now, to be present and to learn who you are. There is no one else like you. Who is that person? Who do you want to become? This is where we start to mold that person, to mold that identity. And when you're molding that identity, the thing we really need to talk about again is the relationship with yourself. Because as you move into that adulthood, you're going to spend more time in your own head than you do anywhere else. And if that space is filled with constant pressure and criticism and doubt, it's going to feel heavy. And you're going to believe it. But if you start building a relationship with yourself that's grounded in patience and honesty and encouragement now, everything changes. You become someone you can rely on, someone who doesn't give up on yourself the second things get hard. So when you mess up, and you will, I've messed up plenty of times because everyone does. Talk to yourself like someone who's learning, not someone who's failing. When things don't go your way, remind yourself this is part of it. We're in it. This is part of the learning experience. Life is not linear. And when you feel lost, remind yourself, I'll allow things to figure themselves out. Those small shifts can create something steady inside of you that are so important. And that steadiness will carry you through moments that feel uncertain. I want you to do a check in right now just to see where you're at. You don't have to say it out loud or anything. Just see where your emotions are at, where your mindset is at. Not how you think you're supposed to feel, but honestly, whatever that answer is, it's okay. You don't need to force yourself into a certain mindset. You just need to stay aware and just stay present. Okay. And remember to keep moving forward. Here's something I really want you to hold on to as you step into this new chapter of life. Your life is yours, not your friends, not your parents, not society's version of what it should look like. It's yours. And that means you get to define what success looks like for you. Again, maybe it's college, maybe it's work, maybe it's taking time to figure things out. That's okay, remember. Maybe it's creating something completely different. All of these paths are valid as long as they're honest to you. And I know that's not always easy because there's noise everywhere. People will have their opinions. They always will. Expectations being placed on you, comparisons showing up constantly. But if you can stay connected to yourself through that mindfulness, through awareness, checking in with yourself, you'll start to hear your own voice more clearly as you move forward in life. And that voice, that's the one worth listening to. You don't have to prove your worth by rushing into something that doesn't feel right. And remember, again, you don't have to have everything figured out to be on the right track. You just have to keep showing up every day. That is the goal, to just keep showing up, to keep learning, to keep paying attention to what feels real to you. And trust that clarity comes with time and experience. Not all at once, of course, but step by step. Okay, so before we close this out, I want to leave you with something simple, something you can come back to when things feel real uncertain. You are allowed to grow at your own pace. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to take up space in your own life. You are allowed to build something that feels true to you. And you are capable of more than you think. Even on the days when you doubt yourself, I know it does happen. I've done it too. Even on the days where things don't go as planned, And even on the days where you feel a little lost, you are still moving forward, and that matters. So before I let you guys go, I want to just say thank you again for allowing me to make this specific episode for the Rockford Boylan High School senior psych class and really listening to the message. And I hope this, resonates with you and hits home in some way. And if you're not in the Rockford Boylan High School class, thank you again for listening to the Merck Method podcast. Many more things to come. But as I leave you always, class of 2026, I'll leave you with this. Stay grounded, stay kind to yourself, and remember, strength begins with honesty. Until next time.